So, I have a tendency to sort of browse YouTube and watch a lot of different types of YouTubers outside of the sphere of politics that I engage in. And one type of content I really enjoy is learning about the history of medieval arms and life in medieval times across the world. Unfortunately, this area of YouTube is dominated by chuds. One of the most popular YouTubers who does this type of content, in fact, Shadiversity, is a massive chud who regularly does anti-woke content. He does streams with like ER and Mahler and Rags and Critical Drinker and Geeks and Gamers and Nerdrotic, where they talk about the newest like woke thing that needs to be destroyed in the culture war. And he's just like... He basically does half his content as, like, normie bait, wide appealing, medieval arms content, medieval life content. And then from there, he sort of, like, brings people into the more radical conservative side of things with the anti-woke stuff he does in his live streams and his, like, second channel and his every other upload or whatever. So... There's also another content creator in this sphere, though, in this line of content, genre, who makes very similar videos and is considerably smaller, but makes, in my opinion, better videos, and I can tell is probably not a chud, or I've always been able to tell probably wasn't a chud, but this just downright confirms it. Scalagrim. I always had a good feeling about Scalagrim. I never felt like he was chuddy, and I always liked his content more. I always felt like his content was a little bit, I don't know. I thought it was more well thought out and a little less clickbaity and, bog standard YouTube normie bait, It felt like it was someone who actually was genuinely into this shit, wanting to teach other people, and not someone just trying to be a popularizer in the same tier as, like, Elon Musk does for, like, tech bro shit. Anyway, the other day, there was a bit of an interaction that happened on Twitter. Scalagrim ended up replying to a tweet. I was scrolling through through Reddit when I saw this, so the Reddit order of the screenshots on Twitter might be out of whack. I'm banned from Twitter, so I cannot actually look at any tweets. Like, I'm rate limited permanently, so, like, I just can't even show you guys things that happen on Twitter for videos because I'm permanently banned. Or sorry, X is what it's called now. God, it's gonna be dead so soon. Anyway, this is the first interaction that starts off what happened. Because he's a responsible parent, concerned about the identity politics being pushed into harmless children's movies, quote-unquote, and wishes to point it out to equally responsible parents who might not wish for it either. I believe this was in response to somebody else asking why Shadiversity cares so much about the Barbie movie being woke. It's not all included here, but putting all the screenshots together, that's what I've been able to figure out. Scalagrim comes out of the woodwork and replies, "Wouldn't a responsible parent decide what movie to watch with children who are too young to decide for themselves? And if they're old enough to decide for themselves, where's the harm? Right-wing rhetoric isn't the only viable option in a marketplace of ideas." Very reasonable response, but doing this kind of kicked the hornet's nest, and this is when all hell broke loose for our boy Scalagrim. So, My point being, I can get the position of, it's a fucking Barbie movie, how could that inspire such a thumbnail/title from a sane person? I want to ask, have you seen the film yourself? If so, was your reaction to Shad's review based upon seeing the film yourself? I'd never had the slightest interest in Barbie, and I wouldn't have thought for a second that this movie is for me. I just can't stand this kind of clickbait. If you don't think it's feminist cancer, maybe you shouldn't put that in all caps in the thumbnail. Yeah, so basically Shadiversity's video on the Barbie movie is like him looking angry, and then like Barbie, and then it says feminist cancer in like big text in the thumbnail. We truly are back in 2016. It never ended. So Shadiversity ends up replying to somebody who called out, Scalagrim replies to somebody calling out Shadiversity saying, "Watch out, you're going to have some zealous Shad fans come after you for daring to question a grown man angrily ranting about a Barbie movie, because apparently that's serious business," smiley face. Shadiversity himself quote tweets this, saying, in other words, let's belittle people who criticize stuff I support instead of listening to what they're saying, and pretend it isn't serious when divisive propaganda is in children's media, and play the victim when I'm called out. Is this you avoiding drama? Scallopgrim replies, "I freely admit I had a bad day yesterday, and I posted that original comment impulsively, in a moment of irritation, but responding with a childlike temper tantrum is not a good look either. Time to move on. I have neither the time nor the inclination to stir up Twitter drama." Very adult response, by the way. Here's the thing, though. Shadiversity doesn't let it go. "I'd be happy to collaborate with Scallagrim at any time, regardless of his offensive and outspoken far-left comments he's made on his channel and off. But I get the feeling he thinks outspoken right-wingers are too problematic to associate with. Of course, he could prove me wrong anytime. Doors open. Ah, yes, if you don't collaborate with me, you're an asshole. So much for the tolerant left. You don't tolerate my bigotry." If a movie reviewer saw a movie, and something about it bothered them immensely, are you not allowed to discuss what upset them in their review, especially if it contextualizes their overall view of the film? Yes, the same way as someone else is allowed to say how they feel it comes across. I love how their response to somebody making fun of people having a meltdown over wokeness in a child's movie. I guess it's not a child's movie. It seems like it has got appeal for adults too. But and their response is to say, they're allowed, they have the freedom of speech to have this opinion. It's like, am I not allowed to have the freedom of speech to, disagree with their opinion? It doesn't really apply if you think about it for too long. This is, of course, the tweet where, Ask Aubrey had tweeted, "Why are these guys so emotional? I thought they were too above the Barbie movie." And you've got Shadiversity's video title here. This is his alt channel called Night's Watch. "Man-hating feminist propaganda. Barbie film review." So yeah, feminist cancer. Very good. Very good. So of course, Shadiversity's still not having let it go. "You're becoming an NPC with generic takes like this. My criticisms of this trash film are all completely valid, but instead of actually listening to them, you'll just throw stones and say stuff like, 'Man, embarrassing. It's pathetic.' Just like people who would say collecting swords and dressing medieval stuff is embarrassing, and I thought you were better than this. Also, are you trying to not understand the purpose of meme-ish hyperbolic thumbnails? It's hilarious how easy it is to trigger people with this, and you apparently. The thumbnails are purposefully over the top." Ah, yes, I was only pretending to be retarded. Why don't you watch the review, Skull, to see how much angry ranting there really is? I have watched Shadiversity go on screamy, angry rants about things being woke and how it's evil. He cannot pretend like he doesn't go full screechy mode when things are woke. "You know, discuss things from an informed place, something you used to do. Right now, you're as bad as sports jocks who only ever seen swords through a window, but is criticizing people like us for saying the katana isn't perfect. But I suppose you would rather go on being triggered because you don't understand why a father would be interested in what movies are trying to teach his children." This dude is literally a man-child, by the way. He is actually, unironically, real-life comic book guy. I'm sorry, but YouTube has made the comic book guy stereotype capable of building a massive audience and empire online. It's actually insane. This man will die alone. We can only hope, but he has a wife and children, so God knows what that is, you know? Scallagrim replies, "NPC? So you have main character syndrome now? Alright, before we derail into petty mudslinging, let me just say this. You can't have it both ways. If you want to play the culture war game for clicks, you can't go surprise Pikachu face when you alienate people with that. not doing this for clicks. I'm doing it to stand up for my beliefs. What's really disappointing is that you've known I'm a devout Christian for years. Your problem is that now I'm outspoken about it. Basically, it's get back in the closet, you conservative, otherwise we can't be friends. It's fine that you're a Christian as long as you hide it, otherwise you'll alienate me. But I bet you're fine with people who are just as outspoken that are on the far left. That's the hypocrisy, especially when you're happy for right-leaning people to watch your content, but you'll alienate yourself from watching them. I made this video for people like you who think this way. Feminism is cancer! I like how he's pretending he doesn't actually believe it, and it's just like a hyperbolic belief, but he's outright said he believes feminism is cancer many times. Scalligum replies, "This is getting silly, so last reply. Nobody's forcing you into some kind of closet. Nobody's limiting your freedom of speech, but people are also free to watch who and what they want and voice their opinion. I keep politics out of my channel, so hypocritical, eh? You know I keep politics off Shadiversity, which is why your reply seems to purposefully dodge what I'm saying. That's on purpose, by the way, because he wants to make sure the normies fall into, like, the medieval arms content, and then get introduced to the right-wing propaganda. And no, he doesn't want to scare off the normies from the get-go. Let me make it even more clear. You have admitted to being alienated due to political comments I've made outside of my channel, when you could have just ignored them. Like I've ignored your uninformed and offensive political rant videos and comments you've made over the years, and we'd have moved forward in collaboration and friendship. You make political comments outside of your channel, essentially doing the same thing as me, but it's okay when you do it, equals hypocrisy. Ah yes, you think it's bad when I'm racist, but you think it's good when you're not racist? You hypocrite. Someone replies, "This just in, clickbait reaction YouTuber who gets triggered at children's movies is outraged at the slightest criticism. If your skin's this thin, Shad, maybe move up to full plate armor. Your holier-than-thou persona is incredibly cringe and transparent." Holy f***, that was a good joke. I generally try to be considerate and diplomatic, and my offhand remark wasn't necessary, sure, but he's really flying off the handle over something this trivial. Really sad to see Scalligrim not getting a lot of likes. It's so sad how little, like, general support there is for, like, lefty-leaning content creators, or even popular content creators when they dare to express progressive values. He offhandedly mentioned that he doesn't watch you anymore because, as I infer, you portray yourself as overreacting to everything. You are now proceeding to overreact. And Scalligrim just replies, "Yup." Because he just doesn't really care about arguing anymore. And that's where he stops replying to these people, because he is an adult and not a man-baby, an actual man-child like Shadiversity, and is unironically above this weird, petty Twitter argumentation. You really should go check out Scalligrim. I'll be linking his channel in the top comment and in the description down below. His content's really good, and if you're looking for content that's, like, about that, like, medieval weaponry, swords, axes, castles, shit like that, and isn't coming from a reactionary, he is your guy. But yeah, I hope you go send some support, because we now know that Scalligrim is based.